How's it going, everybody? In this video, I figured I would go over pretty much everything, like what I'm doing and how I do it. Just to let you know ahead of time, I apologize if you hear my air conditioner. There's not much I can do. All my stuff's up in the attic right now. So let me bring up my outline because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So first, we're gonna take a look at the location, like where I actually live. So my house is right here. Again, this is in southwestern PA. So what these map markers are, and I'm gonna probably add like a 2B and a 6B here and here respectively. What that means is song meter micro. So location 1, 2, 3, 4, so forth. So basically, when I record stuff, it'll have a folder for that, like it'll tell you like when it was and then the location. That way, you know exactly where out on the property this was taken. So the next thing I kind of want to talk about though is the the audio analysis for this. So these are like the questions that I have. Actually, you know what? Let's go. We'll get to that in a second. Let's do this first. This makes more sense. So this is going to be a long-term relic hominoid investigation at Site Zero because this is the first place I've ever had anything weird happen. So I'm just going to call it Site Zero. So Site Zero is located in southwestern PA, Washington County, and is in a 20-acre private residence. Along with UAP activity and large black cats in the area, which, like I said, one of my neighbors said that they heard basically I heard it from another neighbor that the person that lives next to them that their horse was attacked by a large black cat, but it lived. There has been sustained Sasquatch activity both at the property and in the area dating back to the late 1970s. The residents have experienced wood knocks, screams, including what sounded like a woman in the woods, which that was my mom about 4 or 5 years ago. I'd have her on the channel, but unfortunately she passed away last month. When I talked to her about this, I'm like, the first thing I thought was, well, bobcat, or maybe it's some kind of mountain lion, because I have seen photos and videos of them in our state, including in Waynesburg. So I played the sounds for him, and she's like, no, I know what those sound like. And she was able to, it surprised me she was able to tell me which was which. She said this sounded like a woman screaming bloody murder in the woods, and I guess it freaked her out because her boyfriend was at work, and this was like super early in the morning, like probably like between 5 and 6 after he left. And then we've had like those horrible smells. Like I said, I've smelled like a combo of like roadkill, dead animal, and like wet dog, and it was when all this activity was actually going on. That was around Christmas last year. So in order to adequately study this location, I want to roll this out in phases. So phase 1, which I'm doing right now, is audio monitoring. I have 4 song meter micro 2 units are going to be deployed. I don't know why I have this open 3 times, but ideally I would have one at each of these, including the 2 that I said I want to add. Because then if you had one at each of these, you could triangulate sources of sound and then figure out exactly where things are coming from. Because, if you're only catching it on these 3, then that means that it's back in here that's making the sound, even if you can pick it up on these, like faintly, but it's loud back here, then you know that it's back in this corner. Instead of trying to guess and going, well, I know it's distant from where the recorder is, but I don't know the location. So those recordings will run from sundown to sunrise all year. Well, I can't do it all year right now because, like I said, I only have 1 unit, and we're going to get into how I do this. So what I'm doing right now is I put it out for 4 days, and I listen for birds. And there's an app for this. So it's this song meter configurator. Well, they have one for the song meter micro too that's a little bit different. But you can see it gives you all the information on your smartphone because it'll sync up through Bluetooth. So it's got like the name, the serial number, the temperature, because it does have a thermometer in it, the battery voltage, like the percentage, the schedule name, current record. I mean, this has everything. This is made for biologists, though. And then you can set up your own custom schedule. Now, see, mine doesn't have this because it actually uses see mobile devices time zone, but it also uses the GPS on my phone. And luckily enough, since we're up on this huge ass hill, I get 5G up in the woods, so it's always going to be accurate. And then this just shows like you can configure it, you can unpair it, and then if you hit status when you're out in the field, it'll show you this first one. That way you can go, oh, okay, well, here's, see, because mine also, yeah, right up here, storage info. It'll tell you how much is available and how much you've used and how many recordings. And then you can look at the battery life and kind of estimate, well, you know, here's how much more I have to go on. So what I do is the custom, when I bring this up and I set a custom one up for birds, I set it up to do so say I put it out 3, it'll start at the closest half hour, which is 3:30 then. It'll start from then, and it'll go every hour after that, so 3:30, 4:30, you know, etc., etc., until I finally shut it off. And it just records for 30 minutes at a time. That's plenty for birds. I mean, I have it running at night too, because we do have like whippoorwills, we've got Vesper sparrows out here before. We have several different types of owls. I mean, there is stuff out here that we'll call at night. There's just not a lot of it, but I still need to note that that's out here since I'm doing a species survey, really, out here instead of like an actual like population density, anything looking at that for any of these. So yeah, that's what the map markers were. So we're going to look at the overview that I have right now. Like I said, we're going to jump back to this. So audio is going to be reviewed in Audacity, and if you've never used it, it's free. You just bring it up, and then you would drag your audio in, and you can just sit here and listen to it. So audio will be reviewed in Audacity, and timestamp notes will be taken of any potential fines. So we're going to look at that in a minute too. And the reason I use Audacity is because it's free. So I'm trying to make this just like a real, you know, scientific study to where anyone can replicate anything I'm doing, because that's what you have to do in science. It has to be replicatable. So Audacity is free, so nobody can be like, well, I'm not paying for that, or, you know, using this, because there is other stuff you could use, and this does have a spectrograph in it too, I found out. So you can do that, because there's other things that cost money, like Raven, and other things that the lab ornithology use, but those cost a shitload of money. And I don't want anyone to have to like spend money to look at my stuff, you know. Outside experts will be consulted to make sure that no bias is present, because I am human, and proper analysis takes place. And this is the part that I'm getting a hang up on. So if any of you guys that are listening are like in any of these like big groups and stuff, and you want to look at my things, contact me, because I can't find anybody to look at this. Every person I've reached out to, Bob Gimlin, the Olympic Project, I mean, you name it, I've probably talked to them, or tried to. They all go, well, I don't have time to look at your data. I'm not looking over all your stuff. And that's, maybe I didn't explain it right. We're going to get in, I'm going to show you what it actually looks like. You don't have to look over all my data. Everything is time-stamped. And the only things that I want looked at are highlighted in red, because those are the things that are like, well, what is this? Am I being biased? Can someone else hear this? You know what I mean? Those are specifically the things I'd like people to look at. Nothing else. So phase 2, when it happens, I found there's this company called Vicari. So we're going to just do this. So it's these trail cams, because they're low glow, which low glow is supposed to be better for things that might be able to see infrared. Now I'm going to use these, like it said, for photographic stuff, so I don't want video from them. We're going to get to the video part. But what I'm going to do is, wherever I have one of those song meters, I want to put one of those like pretty much on the same tree. And we're going to see if we've had activity there already, because I'm going to wait till there's activity in a spot, then I'll put the camera up. And if the activity stops, then we'll take the camera away and see if the activity comes back. Because one of my professors at Cal U is a primatologist, and I've heard from her and other people that, you know, with primates, they're so much on another level with their spatial awareness, so you know everything that's around them, that you could move like a stick, a branch, whatever, and they'll immediately, like that, they'll pick it up. So that was a problem with putting cameras out, because they would know that these primates are there, but they couldn't get them on camera because they would know that there's something. They might not know it's a camera, but they know that it's something humans put there and that it's out of the ordinary, so they don't like it and they don't want to be around it. So we could look, that could, give us some possible data to look at that. And it can also give us data to possibly consider if they actually can see uh, infrared or not. So phase 3 would be video monitoring. This is what I said we're going to get into next. Now, I don't have the financial means for this, so I'm going to try to find somebody that has access to this equipment. So a FLIR camera will be deployed because, like I said, we're going to be able to look at, or not like I said, I've tried to record it several times and OBS is being a real pain in the ass. So I had to turn off all the hotkeys. So that was the last time I tried to record this. So one of the things I'm looking for is patterns, which we're going to get into with the audio questions. So like, is there like times, so like seasons, times a day, locations, things like that are more active than others. Because if there are, then we could go, okay, well, we're going to take that FLIR camera out. We're going to hit these specific locations at this time. And then if possible, find someone, a FLIR drone would be amazing to get out here, day or night, to fly around and see if anything gets picked up. Or at the very least, a FLIR security camera, because I've seen those, and you can just have them set up to record, and just have it record all night. Put it in a good location, and see if it catches anything. Which that pond would be one of the ones that I would want to see if there's anything going on back there. Other stuff that's not necessarily monitoring, but it's more investigation stuff. So sources of food, if you're looking for anything that's, alive, be it person or animal, then you have to have sources of food. Especially around the area that the initial encounter happened, because they were back there for a reason. Now, I've seen May apples and stuff, and I believe the morels probably grow back there, so that's a source. And there's berries all around this outskirt, especially back in here. I think those were chokeberries, though, but we do have blackberries that grow for sure along this side, because we would pick them sometimes, and my mom would make blackberry pies. This is, so right here, here, and then here, these are apple trees. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. We have 5 apple trees, because you can't see it right here, but there's a brush pile right here. But we have 5 apple trees. Some of them don't give off very big apples anymore because they're kind of old. But that's another source. And then this pond has a crap load of fish in it. I was just back there the other day, and there was even a great blue heron. There's enough back there. And then you can't really tell, but along here, like along the road down through here, there's a stream that runs. And then where this barn is right here, down in here, there's a huge ass pond. I mean, it's huge. So there's all kinds of stuff over in that. So there's plenty of food sources, not to mention if they actually are hitting up the livestock. There's plenty out here to eat. Because that was the next thing. Have any livestock been attacked or vanished in the area? I'd like to get aerial mapping via a drone done. So if I could find like a friend or someone that has a drone, just come out, just fly up once even, and just get a better picture. Because this says 2024. This looks heavily grown in, but this is definitely like more like scrubland. So this makes it look almost like it's becoming a forest again. And while there are some trees over in here, this is still pretty open. I mean, you can see it when I'm walking along this tree line right here, that it kind of opens up into scrubland. So that's not really that accurate. And I'd like to have up-to-date geographic and geospatial information for this site. Those caves that were mentioned, evidently they're back in here somewhere. I haven't found them yet. I've been walking back over in here. So I guess actually they'd be more down in here from what he said, what the landowner said. But I haven't found them yet. But I'd like to, I'm not going to go in them, but I'd like to document them and maybe get like GPS location. That way we can just mark them on the map to know, one, are these big enough that something could hide in them? Which you should never go in caves, because you'd never know what kind of gases are in there, and you could go in and die within minutes. Plus, you never know what's in there. I'm convinced, and the reason I said in the other video that I wanted to have weapons on me, I'm fairly sure if anything's back there living, it's going to be the pack of coyotes that are around here. And our house is right here. They made it all the way up in here in broad daylight because I had to shoot at them. They were only about right here. And we have dogs, and I was worried if they were going to, if they get, too comfortable, though, I mean, the first thing they go after in an area is cats. Eventually they'll lure your dog away, then they'll no more dog. So I wanted to put an end to that. And then survey for structures such as blinds, nests, etc., which I have found some stuff back in here. We're going to look at that in another video, including a tree that's like, I mean, it's probably like a 70-foot tree. I'm trying to think how to explain this. It looks like it's been picked up and wedged between multiple sets of trees. And I know you're going to say, what, fell? This is like, it's not even touching the ground. It's completely out of the ground. I'm looking to see like what's up here. Because I know it was, and I did find some other stuff like this back here, where it's like, this is laid, there's more stuff back in here that's been wedged. This is laid to come up like that. But then there's other stuff where there's like branches that have been like broken off, and they're like, we'll get into it when I do that video, but it's very weird stuff, and it's just back around where that initial location was. What's interesting is this is a bowl, so like when we look at Google Earth, you can see 1045 for the elevation, and then you can see it just drops, and it comes down to almost 1,000, or not, yeah, almost 1,000 feet back in here, and then it'll start climbing again. So this makes a bowl, and right here's that pond. I was talking to my mom's boyfriend, who's a landowner, and he said right back in here's a swamp. He said the only way to get back in here is to do what I did, which you'll see in another video, where I kind of walk up I start walking up this way. But you can see 995 feet, which is interesting because our house is about the same elevation as this, but then over here, it's 1,007 feet, and it just keeps going up. So it's like you get these big, like, valley, like dips and stuff. So see, it starts to climb all the way back in here to almost 1,200 feet. 1,000, or yeah, almost between 11 and 1,200 feet. And then our house is like 9 something. So it's like a 300-foot elevation change. And what I think they do is I think they run these ridges, because there's ridges over here, and then eventually if you keep going that way, you'll run into the river. And there's been sightings along the river at certain times too, and they're always the same descriptions. So it's interesting to see if, because I think Dr. Melger might be right that they have like a pretty decent size area that they run in, and that would make sense that they could come up in these highlands, during like the fall or spring, get the berries and the mushrooms and the other stuff, and then like at other times of the year go down and get fish at the river. But these are all things that are like, they're not really just more investigative, like investigatory things. So you're really, just investigating things as opposed to actual monitoring that need done. Now, the questions for the audio analysis, because, these are the questions I'm looking at, because my hypothesis is if Sasquatch is a real animal, as I believe it is, then all these questions should be able to be answered after a solid year of data collection and analysis. So one is, what kind of nonverbal comms are captured? So like wood knocks, rock clacks, anything where it doesn't have to use vocal cords. Then the next one is, what kinds of verbal comms are captured? So grunts, screams, howls, anything like that. And then if suspected speech captured? If yes to 3, what words, etc. are captured? In other words, like, what makes you think that it's speech? And then number 5 is it one individual when we're catching these things, or is it multiples? Because if it's one, that's going to be easier to debunk. It could be a person, it could be this, it could be that. But if it's like middle of the night, like 2, 3 in the morning, and you're getting multiples, doing samurai chatter or something, well, that's a little bit harder to deal with. Then is it in response to any stimuli? So like in other words, if you hear, which we'll listen, we'll listen to some stuff too. Like the whistling is very weird. So like if you hear something, do like you hear like a, that was my hands, but if you hear like a clack, does something answer back? Does something whistle back? Or if you hear someone's dog barking, do you then get stuff in the woods coming at it? Or if people are doing something, does it sound like something's getting pissed off? Because then you can start to look at the interactions that they're having with their environment and to see if there's something that's like really like riling them up, you know what I mean? Because then you also would know if it does get, bad where they're like hurting or damaging stuff, you'll know how to prepare for it. 'Cause it's like, oh well, Fred down the road's at it again, like he's doing this, and so we know they're going to be pissed off. Are there any possible means of communications captured when I put the dogs out? This is interesting because, like I said, I was concerned they were trying to lure my dogs away. Because there's a bunch of videos I have where my dogs keep looking over. They keep looking over this way. Like there's something. And a couple times I had to really fight with my dog not to go over there. And they tend to listen pretty well. But it was almost like she was being like, like, come here, like, because she looked inquisitive like it'd be a person. So that's what I'm wondering. And I put them out at like 8 and 10 at night. So the 10 o'clock one's the one that I really can, when I have the recorder, of course, down here is when that's being looked at. But that's the one, I'm wondering if they're not only trying to get our dogs away, but is there any wood knocks? Is there this or that? Are they communicating, hey, they're outside? And yes, well, I've gotten some stuff. There's a quote unquote owl that'll start sometimes. Doesn't do it all the time. It'll just do it sometimes, and it's always around the same time of night that it'll sound like it's over in here. Um, this was when my mom's boyfriend would leave. I'm not gonna really probably worry about this anymore because I stop it at 6 a.m. So you know what? We're just gonna delete this, and we'll just make this 7, and we'll adjust these sounds or these questions for the sounds because I stop it at 6 because I found when I have it down by the house, it's just the traffic is too much from 6 o'clock on because you have that road right here, then we have our neighbors right here. It's too much. It's really, those recorders are super powerful. Like it really surprised me how much they pick up and from how far away. Are there any possible means of communication or communication captured when I go outside? Because I've noticed, like I said, our house is right here. If I come back to this back left corner, that's when a quote unquote owl starts somewhere over in here. And I could be outside the rest of the night, not ever come over here, and you'll never hear that. It's just when I'm over here, and it's not all the it's at random times too. Like I've got it like late in the afternoon when you wouldn't think that a barred owl would be calling. And it's just when I go over to that part of the yard. So other things I want to look at, are there more hours active than others on average? Are there phases of the moon that are more active? What about weather and temperature ranges? Seasons more active, and locations on the property too. Because like I said, a lot of action's been over in here somewhere, but I'm really interested in over here because I got a lot of weird shit coming up. And over in here not long ago, I did get some metallic sounds. It almost sounds like a barrel or something. That's by far the most bizarre thing. And it's funny because when I was on the podcast, Jeremiah said, did you get any metallic sounds? And I didn't. I had nothing. This is a recent thing, and it's right here. So I had the recorder, when you watch that initial video I put up, you come through that opening. There's like those 2 fence posts. It's to the right of the one on the right. There's a tree that I just put it on. So whatever it was is right in here by that pond making metallic sounds. So let's go to the next thing. We can close this. So the song meter micro information, we're going to need this now. So each unit, so unit A, B, C, etc., however many I end up with, will have its own folder. So you can see unit A. And then each one has a subfolder. So if we go March, this is location 1. So then you can go, okay, it's unit A, location 1, which would be here. Sorry, I got too much stuff open. Each record, okay, so the way that I do this is we'll come down to scrubbed, because this is, seeing I have the unit A, it sets those all the GPS things for all these recordings. I just keep copy pasting onto this each time I bring it in. So scrubbed, this is all the stuff I've went through. So what we do is we go then 3/4/2025. Now the way this works is see 9 p.m. date modified. That's actually when it started, not when it ends. So it created that file at 9 p.m. on 3/4/2025. So what we do is we go here, we look at this file, and we come into notes, and then we bring this up, and then see it's got the file name, the time it started, the time it ended, and the date. And then I timestamp all this. So I would, let's go back, I would take this, bring it into Audacity, let it load up, and then we're going to boost this by 13 decibels. Because 13 I found to be pretty good. So then we just come up here and we go 13. I'm going to do this to make sure that it's, yeah, it is picking up. So see, this is going to be too much. That's going to be wind. You start to like learn stuff. But, so this first thing, how you know, after 10 minutes and 3 seconds. So we can come over here and hit 10 minutes. 3000. Should have jumped. 10 minutes. We'll just let it go. This is why I want someone else to go back through this, because I'm not hearing that. There's 1727. This is good. This is why you should always come back to stuff. And go, did I really hear that? And what was this first? 17. But this is what I do. Then I sit here and I mark it down on that. You know, what I think I hear. And then I highlight it red if I think it's interesting, and then someone can go back and look at this and go, well, you get the point. I'm not hearing anything in this, so this is going to have to be going back. This is why I'm glad that I go back and look at stuff months later, because it's like, did you hear that? Also should probably make sure that I have the right file open. Because it might not have been the right file, too. So wait a minute. Scrubbed. Well, that was saying 8 to 9 p.m. So where the hell's that one? That's not right, what I had there. I don't know, but you get the idea of how I do this. So then let me come back. We looked at all that stuff. So then it's got the unit status like A, B, C, D, deployed, not deployed, and then it's got links like there's the song meter micro 2, the SD card I use, the batteries I use, the lock I use to put on the trees, and the trail cam mount that'll be here tomorrow that I use. Then I have noted that I boost it by 13 in I boost it by 13 decibels in the actual in Audacity, but I found out I can boost it on the Song Meter Micro too, and right now it's boosted by 18 decibels. And then I just have noted that the first two nights were 24,000 hertz, then I put it to 256. That was insanity, because I think they ended up being like 1.7 gigs a piece for an hour. So now we've got a happy medium. It's 44,100 hertz, which is much, much better. So when I do find something, though, see, we have dated evidence, and I have years, 2023, 24, and 25. So like, for instance, 10/29/24, and then we can go, which one is this? This is 12/84, so we'll find the one that this is in. So see, 10:01 p.m. So then these are screenshots that shows, because see, you can see the actual night sky behind us, because I use augmented reality in all these. There's a whole slew of stuff that I use. So when you see something, but there's a void, and there's multiples of these where it's like there's nothing there, and then including flight radar, you can see there's nothing on flight radar. Like that's back behind me. So when you're getting things like this, and you're going to see this actually change shape, then how do you explain this? You know what I mean? Like, watch it. I zoom in, and look, it's rotating. Do you see that? Look, it's rotating. I went back too far, but look, it looks like it almost looks like an elongated tube that's not only rotating, but look how much light that's giving off. It's got an aura to it. But that's bizarre, is it not? Like, you can clearly see that's rotating. Like, look. So this is how I keep all my dated evidence. And my dated evidence, I have so much stuff. So if we go back, dated evidence, we can click this. There's 40 gigs right there. And then for audio, we can come back here, Song Meter Micro, the raw data. I have almost 300 gigs in raw audio. We're gonna listen to some of this stuff too. So I think this what the actual fuck. I think this is the whistling. I'll boost that. We can, just to make sure that you can hear it on here, we're going to take it into Premiere, and I'll boost the audio in this, because the rhythm that it does, it's like na 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 na. It's really bizarre. And this, I want to say, I'll check, because whatever, I shared this on my Facebook too, but it's at like, I think this was at like 2 or 3 in the morning. It was some random ass time, and it's like I said, all my neighbors are elderly. There's gonna be no one out there at that time walking around whistling in the woods. So we'll just boost that. Audio gain. Oh, we'll definitely be able to hear it now. Hear that now? And that was from location 1. That was back in the woods behind my house. So I have no idea. I don't know how to explain that. I have no idea what that is. I'm not sure what this one is. Can you hear that like Velociraptor style sound in this one? Here, we'll do this. I mean, there's just so much stuff we could sit here. We could sit here for days and go over things. That's why I laughed when someone's like, I don't buy it. Well, you don't have to. I'm living it. So we'll go audio gain 10. About 20. Because this is rather low. And actually we'll make this easier. Drag them back. Oh, sorry about your ears. It's way. Drop this down. I don't know if that's how well that's picking up. I'll have to check it, but jackpot. I think this is the one that has like a whoo. This is what I mean, like I need to get someone good with audio to come in and clean some of this stuff up and actually boost it properly so everyone can hear it, because I can hear it with my headphones, but that's not going to help if you're on YouTube trying to listen. I think it's up in here. Yeah, right. Yeah. Bring this in now. We'll do audio gain. We'll just do 15. Let it go. But there's some other stuff that we'll go over in future ones too. I just wanted to show you all how I do all this. And I'm listening to. I'll rewind it if I hear something. But this is how I go over all my data. Right there. Hear it? That. Whew. There's like footsteps too, it sounded like. I'll have to find some other ones because I have one where it starts off with like the hoo 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 hoo, you know, the barred owl, but then it just turns into it turns into another animal, and I can't remember if it was a coyote or what it was, but it turns from a hoot into an owl, or from a hoot into a howl, and it's, I mean, there's truly bizarre stuff. But I think that's going to do it for this one. This is already going to be super long. If you watched all this, I gratefully appreciate it. As always, like, if you guys like this and really want to help support everything, right now the best way to do it is just like, share, and subscribe. And then leave comments. And like I said, if you know anybody that has like these groups, by all means have them reach out to me, because I need more eyes on this data. I want to be as transparent as possible. And hopefully, like, I can get some answers, because that's why I'm doing this. Like everyone else, I want answers. But I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you all very much, and have a great day or night wherever you are.